Welcome to our presentation today, Options to Foreclosure. My name is Dave Peoples, Century 21 First Realty in Tallahassee, Florida. Please feel free to send me an email at any time. I normally respond to emails within 12 hours, and you can see my email address at the bottom, dpeoples@manasa.com. And feel free to check out our company blog at manasa.com/blog. And in this presentation, we're going to be talking about options to foreclosure for people that unfortunately may be facing foreclosure as a possibility in the near future. And this is a looming concern for more and more Americans every single day. Here's our agenda. We're going to be talking about what exactly foreclosure is and what your 5 options to foreclosure are, to include getting your loan current and keeping it current, loan modifications, forbearance, short sale, and finally deed in lieu of foreclosure. Foreclosure is the process in which lenders redeem property that was used as security in a loan. The end state of the process is the redemption of the property by the lender. It's important to remember that this is an alternative. Foreclosure is an alternative that is not desired typically by the borrower, and it's not desired typically by the lender. Usually there's arrangements that can be made to stop the process, and it's not something the bank wants to do, it's something the bank has to do. So when people get behind on their mortgage, it's important for them to remember that the bank needs to threaten foreclosure, but they don't really want to foreclose. Okay, so what are your options to foreclosure? Get the loan current and keep the loan current is by far your best option when facing foreclosure. Okay, that sounds very simple. Well, if I could just get the loan current and keep it current, I wouldn't be in this situation in the first place, and that's very true. And one thing I want to warn borrowers about is the reality of the situation. It's time to, if you're behind on your mortgage, it's time to sit down and really analyze what happened and why it happened. Not to point any fingers, not to blame anyone, but to actually look at your budget and see what led you to become behind on your mortgage, and is it likely that you're going to be able to get the loan current and keep it current. Many times people in trouble, in this type of trouble, life is very stressful for them and they're not making good decisions, and typically they start ignoring communication with the bank. Very important to communicate with the bank and to explain exactly what's going on. Option number 1 is the best, but it's a 2-part option and you can't skip either part. You've got to get it current and you've got to keep it current. I meet with 3 to 4 families every single weekday, and they all say, yeah, I can come up with the money to get it current. And when I ask them, well, can you keep it current? They kind of look at me and say something like, I hope so, or hopefully. Or they can say, we can make the payment now, I just can't get the back payments up to speed. Well, it's a 2-part process, because if you just keep making the payment but you're behind, you're continually going to accrue 30 and 60, 90-day late payments, which is going to kill your credit. But if you get it current and you don't have any hopes of keeping it current, then you're kind of just throwing money away and delaying the process. So if you can do number 1, get the loan current and keep it current, go for it. But if you can't, you need to move on to one of these other options. The next one we'll talk about is loan modification. And a loan modification is a permanent change in one or more of the borrower's terms in the loan. The purpose of a loan modification is usually to achieve a payment plan that is more feasible for the borrower. The 3 terms of the loan that are subject to change are the principal amount, the interest rate, or the loan term. On occasion, the lender will agree to reduce the principal amount of the loan, believe it or not. This isn't typical, it doesn't happen very often, but on occasion the lender will go ahead and reduce the principal portion, thus lowering the payment that the borrower is required to make every month. Altered interest rate is something that is much more plausible. And this generally happens in situations where the borrower has an unusually high interest rate and the bank will agree to lower it if it's likely that the borrower will be able to and will actually make their payments on time in the future. This also happens when borrowers in adjustable rate mortgages that adjust very high very quickly and the borrower has sticker shock. There are times when the lender will actually go ahead and modify those interest schedules to make it payable by the borrower. And then the third term that can be changed is the loan term. Sometimes borrowers will extend the length of the loan. Lenders will extend the length of the loan if it's likely that this will make it achievable and probable that the borrower will go ahead and make their loan payment in the future. Forbearance occurs when a lender agrees to allow a borrower to suspend payments for a period of time to allow the borrower to recover from a financial hardship. Typically, interest does not stop accruing in these situations, and it's important for the borrower to stay in constant communication with the bank and to explain to them exactly what happened and why they got behind in the first place. And most importantly, they need to prove to the bank how they're likely to make their payments in the future. The bank does not want to take the time to negotiate some alternative payment schedule with a borrower that is not believable in their plan for the future. The bank wants to know what happened. They're not looking to blame anyone. They're just looking for a plausible reason why the borrower got behind on payments and what they're going to do to change the situation in the future and why it's likely that will occur. Then next option is a short sale, and this is what I specialize in. And a short sale occurs when a borrower and a lender agree to a sale to a third party in which the proceeds from the sale are not sufficient to satisfy liens against the property. This is becoming more and more popular as lenders are beginning to understand the true market conditions and the true value of properties. As property values slide and become lower, more and more people have negative equity in their property and are upside down. It's becoming more common for lenders to agree to allow borrowers to sell their property even if it's not sufficient to satisfy the loan. And the lenders will do this for a very simple reason. If it makes financial sense for them to do it, they will. If it makes more sense for them to sell it short and take a small loss, they have a belief that it's better to lose early than to lose late. If values continue to decline, that's money that the lender's not going to recoup. And if they have to foreclose and redeem the property themselves, they incur a ton of expenses that they do not want to incur. Maintenance, brokerage fees, lost opportunity, all sorts of different expenses that they do not want to expose themselves to. So they are becoming more and more open to short sale of their property. Then the final option is a deed in lieu of foreclosure, and this occurs when the lender and the borrower agree that all interest in the subject property be returned to the lender voluntarily. Now, lenders will normally not agree to this when the fair market value is less than the loan balance. Okay, so basically the borrower would tell the lender, hey, I'm going to go ahead and return all interest in the property to you and give you title to the property, and I'm not going to claim any interest in the property. And the lenders will probably do this if there's equity in the property. They will be open to it if there's equity in the property. Now, if the borrower is upside down in the property, the lender is going to be more likely to do a short sale or some type of loan modification, if anything, than they will to a deed in lieu of foreclosure. So that's our presentation today, options to foreclosure. Please feel free to contact me at any time with any questions at dpeoples@manasa.com, and again, I'll try to respond to all emails within 12 hours. Feel free to check us out on our blog, manasa.com/blog. And if you find yourself in trouble, know you're not alone. There's a ton of people out there facing tough situations right now, and just make sure you keep constant communication with the bank. That's the biggest pitfall I see. And just remember not to run away from the bank. Stay in touch with them and email with any questions. Thank you.